Hey there. We're at Lakeport State Park. We're on Lake Huron, kind of over in the Thumb region of Michigan on the east side of the state. And we've actually been here for a few days. It's currently Saturday, but luckily, due to our remote work situations, we were able to get here in the middle of the week when it was actually much quieter.
Yeah, absolutely. Today we were out for a bike ride, and as we rode out, we realized the full campground sign was out. So this place is packed. It probably doesn't help in some ways. There's two campgrounds here, the north and the south. And the south campground, which is the smaller one, I believe, is closed right now because they're doing bathroom renovations. So no bathrooms available over there. So everybody that wanted to be here is kind of packed into the north campground, and it's full.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, I'm really glad to see that the parks are full and people are using them. I mean, we're a few weekends into September. It's a really gorgeous weekend. It's probably in the 70s, so like perfect camping weather. And, given that a lot of stuff indoors people still don't really want to do right now, it's nice to see people out camping and using the parks. So it's, there's people here and everything, from your 10s to your Class A's and everything in between. And it's just good to see a lot of families out this weekend.
And it was a good opportunity for us to camp here because obviously we've been to the state park before, as we have visited all 103 state parks. If you haven't seen those yet, I will link to the playlist. But this is one of the parks where we were unable to stay for, I don't remember exactly why, but sometimes we couldn't stay at a state park. And so we didn't get to camp at this one. We did sort of a day visit and went through everything, did a look at the campground, and we visited the day use area, which this is one of those state parks where the day use area is actually quite a bit separate.
Yeah, it's almost a mile or two down the road. And we'd actually been to that day use area a couple times in the past. So that's one we were familiar with. But yeah, just like I said, we weren't able to camp here. I think it was full, quite frankly, and we just couldn't get in.
So we spent time at the day use area. That one it's basically the beach on Lake Huron. There's a decent sized beach there. Here at the campground, on the north campground, there is a very small beach that you can kind of go down on. But it is Lake Huron, so it's mostly rocks once you get past a little bit of sand.
And we're talking good-sized rocks and really cool rocks. You can find Petoskey stones and agate and all sorts of just really cool geological type formation rocks. I mean, rocks are all geological formations, but they're just really cool and unique. And so it's just fun. I mean, one of the reasons people come to this park is for the rock hunting.
The campground itself, one of the things I like about the north campground, at least, is it's a series of loops. It's a good-sized campground. But one of the things they've done here is they've left up barriers of trees. So this campground feels much smaller than it is. We've got about, 3 or 4 loops where we're at. Yeah. And then there's a set of trees. And then on the other side of that, there's more loops. But what I like is instead of, as in some places, they will just completely clear cut it and you have a huge wide open campground, there's a little bit of a buffer here. So there's more opportunity. We happen to be in a site where in 161, we're up against trees, and it feels like we're up against the end of the campground, even though on the other side of the trees, there's
20 feet away, there's somebody there, but you don't even know it.
There are more campers. Yeah. And then the other thing that they've done that's nice, though, is there's a number of bathroom buildings for each of the loops. And there's a sidewalk that they've put in. So they cut a little path through the woods and laid down a sidewalk. So if one of the bathroom buildings is closed for cleaning, you just cut through on a sidewalk into the next loops over, and you've got a bathroom right there. So that's kind of handy to have that as well. I thought it was a nice design.
The reason that we're back at Lakeport State Park is because we met up with some fellow travelers that we've known for about 5 or 6 years. These are all people who also own Roadtreks. And many of them we met at our first outing way back in January of 2016 when we went to Tequamanon Falls for our very first trip ever. And so we met some of these folks, and then every year we sort of added to the group, and we've gotten to know them, and they've gotten to know other people and brought them into the group. Some of them travel together almost all year round in different places. Most of them are retired, so they have that ability. But they had, a month or so ago, they decided that, hey, we all wanted to get together and pick this spot. And so, I don't know, they were probably 20, 25 of us over the course of a few days. Some people had to come and go early, or they came late and stayed late. So it just depended on what worked in your schedule. But, for 3 or 4 nights in a row, people were able to just gather around the bonfire, have a good time, catch up. 2020 has been a little crazy, so this is the first time any of us had really seen each other all year. And it was just really nice. And it's great to have that type of group of people to get together with.
I was going to say that. It's nice to have sort of a tribe, right? I mean, figure out what you can find as a group of people to get together with. So for us, it happened to be Roadtrek, specifically Roadtrek as the brand. So, and there's all kinds of Facebook groups now. There's all kinds of groups online to join to find who owns a rig that's made by the same manufacturer, who has the same type of rig. We have a Class B with the van. We have all these other people that have Class Bs. What happens when you find a group like that is you have a lot of things in common already. So it's an automatic built-in sort of conversation starter. But they also get you. They get what's working. They get maybe what's not. Particularly if you have a smaller rig, they understand it. I would think if you're with a group that you all have really big rigs. I mean, we were at the RV museum, and there was a group traveling together in the big Prevost converted buses. I'm sure that people that drive rigs that large all have their issues that they're dealing with that are much different than ours, but it's nice to have somebody to talk to who completely understands what it means when you're trying to plot out a route for one of those things. So I just think it's great to have that kind of group to meet up with.
And I agree. I mean, we'll sit around and talk about storage issues or generator issues or this, that, and the other thing, or hey, this part broke on mine. Has anybody found a way to replace it? Because many of these aren't even made anymore. So yeah, there are things that we chat about, or we get ideas from them, like how are you storing this, or where does that fit, or oh, that's a really good idea. So I do enjoy that. But yeah, there's all sorts of Facebook groups, whether it's things that are more of rig related or they're more hobby related. So do you like kayaking, do you like whitewater rafting, or biking, or hiking, or whatever it is? So there's so many different groups out there, and as much as I dislike Facebook sometimes, it is such a great resource for getting groups like that together. It is a good way to connect and keep up with each other. So
well, you might find out too that you have one thing in common because of the type of rig you have or the manufacturer, but then you might find that you have similar hobbies and there's an opportunity for you to get together to do things. So the group we had here have rigs that are much older and some that are much newer, very different styles. But then we found out that several people carry inflatable kayaks like we do. Some people really like to go out biking. Some do hiking. One of the couples that was here is big on kite flying, so that would be kind of neat. And they were telling us about festivals they go to for kites, and that would be really cool. So I'm putting that on the list of things that we might want to do sometime. I don't know where we're going to store them, but we'll figure it out.
Why not?
But it would be fun. So one thing just kind of leads to another, and I think that's just a great way to kind of meet people, stay in touch over time, and then find an opportunity to get together and just sit around and chat. It was really nice.
Jumping back to the park in general here, if rock hounding is one of your activities, this would be a really good park. Like we said, there's a lot of rocks on the shore, and they're just really cool. If your hobby happens to be ice cream, no names mentioned.
This one.
There's actually a couple options here. In the park itself is a little general store that happens to sell, in addition to camping supplies, it does sell ice cream. But you can also go for a short bike ride down the road to the Pepperoni Cow.
The Pepperoni Cow is about a mile away, so it's a 2-mile round trip. It's down M25, but the shoulders are really wide, so I didn't really have too much concern riding down the road, to get in and out of the park. And
wear your helmet.
Down to the Pepperoni Cow, wear your helmet. Always wear your helmet. But yeah, so it was a good little round trip and worthwhile trip to get some ice cream.
Oh look, we found ice cream! Surprise! We are at the Pepperoni Cow in Lexington, which is right outside Lakeport State Park, just a short bike ride away. You can get pizza or ice cream, and it is the home of 100 shakes. Many, well, obviously 100, but lots of different flavor combinations that you can put together. They all looked really good, but I just ended up with a mint ice cream with a chocolate waffle cone. If you are thinking of coming to Lakeport State Park, I would suggest a couple things. One, bring a pair of binoculars because you may see some freighters go by as they're heading up the river and back up to Lake Huron. And there are a couple of lighthouses in the area, or there's the Blue Water Bridge where you can actually sit and watch the freighters go by. So there's a number of things in this area to do. So check it out, before you come. We've done many of those in the past, which is why we've been to this area quite a few times. But it's just a really nice area of Michigan, I think.
So consider checking it out. Find a tribe or go by yourself. Just get out there. We want you to go out and enjoy yourself and experience everything that this great state of Michigan has to offer for the outdoors. Keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.